Chosen one, lock your focus on my voice. The last 90 days of your life were not real. I know that sounds impossible, but let your spirit verify this truth. The chaos, the delays, and the people who seemed sent from hell to test your sanity, they were part of a divine simulation, a sting operation authorized by heaven. You thought you were failing because you felt the pressure. You thought God left you because of the silence. But I am holding the script right now, and it says the exact opposite. You were not fighting flesh and blood, you were being tested by actors in disguise. And while you were worrying about your performance, heaven was preparing your promotion. The director has yelled, "Cut! It is time to see what was really happening behind the scenes." Before I show you the proof, I need you to align with this verdict. If you are ready to receive your report card from heaven, subscribe to this channel right now to lock in your position in this collective. Like this video to signal to the spiritual realm that you are listening, and comment the number 333 below, signifying the end of the 3-month cycle and the beginning of divine completion. And listen closely. Do not leave this video until I release the seal at the very end, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the masquerade protocol. I am going to show you exactly which people in your life are actors sent to test you, and I am going to reveal the massive back pay that has accumulated in your spiritual account while you were suffering. If you click away now, you walk away from the reward right when the check is being signed. Stay with me. Now, let us go back to the scene of the crime. I want you to mentally transport yourself back to that moment in your car, or maybe it was your bedroom, about 3 weeks ago. Recall the specific heaviness in the air. You gripped the steering wheel so hard, your knuckles turned white. You were screaming inside your own head because a situation that should have been simple suddenly became impossible. The paperwork got lost. The payment failed. The person who promised to help you suddenly stopped answering your texts. Can you feel that heat rising in your neck just thinking about it? That specific pressure behind your eyes where the headache starts, that was not stress. That was atmospheric pressure from a spiritual camera zooming in on your reaction. You felt like everything was falling apart. But that is the illusion of the set. Most people read the book of Job in the Bible, and they see a man suffering. But they miss the most important part in chapter 1. The scene does not start on earth with Job's pain. It starts in heaven with a conversation. Job is down there living his life, thinking his bad day is just a bad day. He has no idea that up in the throne room, God is bragging about him to the enemy. Job thought he was being punished, but he was actually being showcased. The trials were not evidence of God's absence. They were evidence of God's confidence. That is exactly where you have been for the last 90 days. You thought the car broke down because you have bad luck. No. Heaven was watching to see if you would curse your journey or bless your vehicle. You thought that argument happened because they do not respect you. No. Heaven was watching to see if you would lower your frequency to match theirs. You have seen the chaos. You have felt the pain. You have lived through the simulation. But you are missing the most shocking piece of the puzzle. You need to know who was actually behind those attacks. Because the person who hurt you the most in the last 3 months was not your enemy. They were an actor on a payroll. And when I tell you who hired them, it is going to change how you see your entire past. You see, in a divine sting operation, nothing is random. Every participant is carefully selected. Every obstacle is strategically placed. And the people you thought were destroying your life, they were merely hitting their marks. I want you to entertain a concept that might offend your ego but will liberate your spirit. What if I told you that the people who caused you the most pain in the last 90 days were not your enemies? They were props. They were divine actors, hired for a specific role in your simulation. In Hollywood, a prop is an inanimate object used to advance the plot. That car that refused to start when you were already late for the most important meeting of your year, that was a prop. That computer glitch that deleted your files right before the deadline, that was a prop. They were objects manipulated by the unseen realm to test one specific thing, your breaking point. But then there are the actors. These are far more dangerous because they have faces, they have voices, they have the ability to look you in the eye and deliver a line that cuts straight to your soul. Think about the person who triggered you the most recently. Maybe it was a supervisor who belittled you in front of the team. Maybe it was a partner who suddenly grew cold and distant for no logical reason. Maybe it was a stranger who projected their anger onto you in a public place. You took it personally. You absorbed their toxicity as if it belonged to you. You went home and replayed their words over and over, letting them echo in your mind like a broken record. You asked yourself, why do they hate me? Why am I not good enough? Why is the world against me? But you were asking the wrong questions because you were watching the movie, not the making of the movie. If you could step behind the curtain for just 1 second, you would see something that would make your jaw drop. You would see that person, that villain waiting in the wings, holding a script. And on that script, highlighted in yellow, were the exact words they said to you. They didn't say them because they felt them. They said them because it was the only way to get you to react. Let us zoom into that moment. I want you to mentally replay the tape of that painful interaction right now. Do not be afraid to go back there. We are going back as investigators, not victims. Picture the scene. See their face. Hear their voice. But this time, look closer. Look at their eyes. Did you notice something slightly off? Did you notice that their anger seemed disproportionate to the situation? Did it feel like they transformed into a completely different person in a split second? One moment they were fine, and the next moment they were attacking you with a precision that didn't make sense. That is the glitch in the simulation. That is the evidence of the acting. When a person is truly acting from their own free will, there is a chaotic, human element to it. But when a person is being used as a divine agent of testing, there is a robotic, scripted efficiency to their cruelty. They knew exactly which button to push. They knew exactly which insecurity to target. They said the one thing, the specific phrase that they knew would dismantle you. How could they know that? They didn't. But the director did. This is where we need to open the ancient text to Hebrews 13:2. You have heard this verse before, but you have likely viewed it through a soft, comfortable lens. It says, "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." Most people read this and think it means they should be nice to the homeless man on the street because he might be a sweet angel in disguise who will grant them a wish. That is the fairy tale version. But let us crack open the Greek. The word used for angels is angelos, which simply means messenger. And the word for unawares is lanthano, which means to escape notice, to be hidden, or to be disguised. The text is telling you that spiritual messengers act in disguise. And here is the shadow side of that truth that nobody preaches. Not every angel is sent to comfort you. Some are sent to wrestle you. Remember Jacob? He wrestled with an angel until dawn. That angel dislocated his hip. That angel caused him physical pain. That angel was an antagonist. But that angel was also the gateway to his new identity as Israel. What if the rude waiter, the impossible boss, the betraying friend were angelos messengers sent to wrestle you? What if they were wearing the mask of a villain to test if you had the strength of a hero? If you truly knew that the person screaming at you was actually a divine messenger in a costume, testing your character, would you have screamed back? Or would you have stood in your power, looked them in the eye, and realized, I see you. Now, I want you to check your body. Scan your shoulders. Scan your neck. Right now, you are holding tension there. That tension is the residue of the anger you have been carrying toward these actors. You have been clenching your muscles, preparing for a fight, preparing to defend yourself against their next attack. But the scene is over. The director has yelled, "Cut." I want you to do something with your mind right now. I want you to visualize that person, the one who hurt you the most. Picture them standing in front of you. But now, visualize the stage lights going off. Visualize them reaching up to their neck and unzipping the costume they were wearing. They take off the mask of the villain. They step out of the character. And underneath, they are just a spirit. Tired from playing a role that was necessary for your growth. See them handing the script back to the director. They didn't hate you. They were instrumental to you. Without their pressure, you would never have found your diamond nature. Without their betrayal, you would never have learned to trust your intuition. Without their noise, you would never have learned to value the silence. Take a deep breath in through your nose, imagining you are inhaling the truth of this revelation. And as you exhale, imagine you are blowing away the dust of that old scene. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw loosen. You do not need to forgive the character for the evil they did. The character doesn't exist anymore. But you can release the actor. You can stop drinking the poison of resentment hoping it will kill them. They have already moved on to the next set. You need to move on to your promotion. The set is being struck. The props are being put away. The actors are wiping off their makeup. But now that the stage is clear, there is only one person left in the spotlight. You. And this is where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Because while the other people were just actors following a script, you were the lead role. You had free will. The cameras were rolling on you. And when we review the dailies, the raw footage of your reactions over the last 90 days, there is something on the tape that we need to discuss. Because, let's be honest, chosen one, you didn't exactly follow the high road every single time, did you? There were moments in that simulation where you snapped. There were moments where you broke character, and that specific failure is what has been eating you alive from the inside out. You think you passed the external test, but you are terrified you failed the internal one. Let me tell you what the director actually saw when you thought you were falling apart. Let us be brutally honest about what the director saw on that tape. He did not see a saint floating on a cloud of holiness. He saw you getting messy. He saw you getting ugly. In the heat of the moment, when that actor pushed you past your limit, you didn't just feel annoyed. You felt a rage so dark, it actually scared you. You had thoughts that you would never say out loud in church. Thoughts like, I wish this person would just disappear. Thoughts like, I hate my life right now. Thoughts like, God, you tricked me, and I am done with this assignment. You might have slammed a door. You might have sent a text message that you deleted 5 seconds later, shaking with adrenaline. You might have sat in your car and screamed until your throat hurt. And the moment the anger faded, the shame rushed in to take its place. That is the guilt trap. That is the enemy's favorite maneuver. He waits for you to react to the pain he caused, and then he judges you for the reaction. He whispers in your ear, see? A true chosen one would never act like that. A true person of God would be patient. You just blew it. You just lowered your frequency. You just disqualified yourself from the blessing. And you believed him. You have been walking around for the last few weeks carrying a secret sentence of condemnation. You think you are damaged goods. You think you failed the simulation because you flinched when the fire got too hot. But I need you to silence that voice of condemnation right now. Listen to me. A chosen one is not a robot. You are not a statue made of marble that feels nothing when it is chiseled. You are a raw, open nerve ending walking around in a world of numbing agents. The reason you reacted so strongly is not because you are weak. It is because you are high definition. You have been designed with a spirit that feels everything at maximum volume. When you love, it is an ocean. When you grieve, it is a burial. And when you hurt, it is an earthquake. That intensity is not a flaw in your design. It is the engine of your destiny. God gave you that sensitivity so you could discern the spiritual atmosphere, but the side effect is that you feel the pain of the simulation more than anyone else around you. The enemy wants you to think that your emotional reaction was a sin, but if we look at the pattern of Scripture, we see something very different. The Bible is not a hall of fame for people with perfect emotional regulation. It is a hospital for broken geniuses who lost their cool under pressure and were still used by God. Look at the pattern. Look at the data. Consider Peter. He was the leader of the disciples, handpicked by Jesus. But in the Garden of Gethsemane, under the extreme pressure of the ultimate simulation, Peter did not start a prayer circle. He did not sing a worship song. He snapped. He pulled out a blade and he sliced a man's ear off. That was violence. That was rage. That was a total loss of spiritual control. He physically assaulted an actor in the simulation. Did Jesus fire him? Did Jesus look at Peter and say, "You failed the test. Hand over your keys to the kingdom"? No. Jesus healed the damage, but he kept the disciple. He knew Peter's heart was loyal, even when Peter's emotions were volatile. Look at Elijah, the mighty prophet who called down fire from heaven. But the moment the pressure got too high, he ran under a tree and prayed to die. He told God, "I have had enough. Take my life." That is suicidal depression. That is giving up. That is failing the endurance test. Did God replace him? No. God sent an angel to feed him and let him sleep. Look at David, a man after God's own heart. Yet when he was lonely and frustrated, he didn't just stumble. He orchestrated a murder to cover up his own mess. He failed spectacularly. Yet his name is still on the lineage of the Messiah. So why are you holding yourself to a standard that even the greatest pillars of faith did not meet? Why do you think your anger is heavier than Peter's violence? Why do you think your desire to quit is worse than Elijah's death wish? You are judging your entire identity based on a moment of weakness in a high-pressure environment. You are sitting there thinking that because you got angry, you missed the window of promotion. Because you cried, you aren't strong enough to carry the mantle. Because you questioned God's plan, you have no faith. But I am here to dismantle that lie. Your anger did not disqualify you. Your tears did not disqualify you. And your doubts did not disqualify you. The director was not looking for a plastic performance. He was not looking for a fake smile. He knows what is in you because he put it there. The simulation was not designed to see if you could be polite. It was designed to see if you could be real. You think that reaction made you fail the test? You think God is up there looking for perfection? You are wrong. You have been tricked by a religious spirit that wants you to be nice instead of powerful. The truth about this test is completely different from what you have been told. What if I told you that your reaction wasn't the failure? What if I told you that falling down was actually part of the requirement? Get ready, because I am about to flip everything you think you know about what just happened. The test wasn't about whether you fell. It was about what you did the moment you hit the ground. You have convinced yourself that the test was about patience. You have convinced yourself that the test was about silence. You have convinced yourself that because you opened your mouth, because you felt the anger, because you had the breakdown, you received an F on your spiritual report card. Whatever you think the test was, I want you to mentally delete that file right now. Tear it up in your mind, because you have been grading yourself on a rubric that God never used. The director wasn't testing your perfection. He was testing your recovery rate. Let that sink in. Recovery rate. God knows you are human. He knows you have limits. He knows that if you prick a finger, it bleeds. He wasn't watching to see if you could walk through a minefield without flinching. He was watching to see how long you would stay on the ground after an explosion knocked you off your feet. Think about the last 3 months. Yes, you fell. Yes, you reacted. But look closer at the timeline. 5 years ago, if you had gone through this level of betrayal and chaos, how long would you have stayed down? How long would you have wallowed in depression? Probably 6 months. Probably a year. You would have quit your job. You would have ghosted everyone. You would have abandoned your prayer life for weeks. But look at what you did this time. You got knocked down on Tuesday morning. You cried. You screamed. You felt like quitting. But by Tuesday night, what were you doing? You were washing your face. You were whispering a prayer, even if it was just, God, help me. By Wednesday morning, you were back on your feet, showing up for your assignment, even though you were limping. That is not failure. That is elite spiritual athleticism. We need to go deep into the wisdom of Proverbs 24-16 right now to anchor this truth. You know the verse, "For a righteous man falls 7 times and rises again." Stop right there. Most people read this and think, oh, it's okay to make mistakes. But they miss the Hebrew fire hidden in this text. The word for rises is kum. It is not a passive verb. It doesn't mean to float back up. Kum means to stand up in a hostile environment. It means to establish. It means to take a stand against the force that just leveled you. It implies a violent, muscular, intentional act of defiance against gravity. And notice the number, 7. In biblical numerology, 7 is the number of completion. That means the righteous man doesn't just fall once or twice. He falls completely. He falls until it looks like it is over. He falls until the enemy starts celebrating. But the definition of his righteousness is not that he didn't fall. The definition of his righteousness is the kum, the rising. The simulation of the last 90 days was designed to measure the gap between your fall and your rise. And here is the verdict. Your gap has closed. What used to take you months to process now takes you days. What used to take you days now takes you hours. You are bouncing back faster than you ever have in your life. That is not regression. That is acceleration. I want to tell you about someone I worked with recently. Let's call him Michael. Michael is a chosen one, just like you. He was up for a massive promotion, a position that would change his family's legacy forever. But right before the final interview, everything went wrong. His car engine blew up. His landlord gave him an eviction notice. And then, the day before the interview, his brother called him and said things that cut him to the bone. Michael snapped. He lost it. He screamed at his brother. He threw his phone across the room and shattered the screen. He sat on the floor of his apartment, weeping, and he said, "I can't do this. I'm not going to the interview. I'm disqualified. My spirit is too dirty." He stayed on that floor for exactly 20 minutes. 5 years ago, Michael would have cancelled the interview. But this time, after 20 minutes, something shifted. He didn't feel happy. He didn't feel holy. He still felt the sting of the betrayal. But he stood up. He walked to the bathroom mirror. He washed his face. He looked at his own reflection and said, "I am hurt, but I am here." He went to the interview the next morning with a shattered phone in his pocket and a heavy heart. He didn't pretend to be perfect. He walked in with the authority of someone who had survived a war the night before, and he got the job. Later, he asked God, "Why did I get it? I was a mess." And the Spirit whispered to him, "You didn't get it because you were perfect. You got it because you possess the bounce back. I can't trust people who have never fallen because I don't know if they can get up. But I watched you fall, and I watched you rise." That makes you dangerous to the enemy. Chosen one, visualize yourself right now. See yourself on the floor where life knocked you down last week. Now, feel the muscles in your spiritual legs engaging. Feel the grit in your teeth. Feel the decision being made in your gut. You are standing up. You are dusting off your knees. You are not looking for an apology from the people who pushed you. You are looking for your next assignment. You passed the test not because you stayed standing, but because you refused to stay seated. You proved that your recovery rate is supernatural. You proved that you are unkillable. And now that you know you have passed the internal test, now that you know your heart is approved by heaven, we have a different problem to solve. Because while you were busy fighting yourself, the enemy was busy reorganizing his troops. You have won the battle within. But the enemy on the outside is not going to just walk away because you got your confidence back. In fact, now that he knows you are resilient, he is going to change his strategy. He is no longer going to try to push you down because he knows you will just get back up. So he has a new plan. A more subtle plan. He has a playbook of 7 specific disguises, designed to lure you back into a cage without you even realizing you are trapped. And the first one is the most deceptive of all because it doesn't look like an attack. It looks exactly like a compliment. You have proved you can survive the storm. You have proved you can bounce back from the fall. So now, the enemy is recalling his infantry and sending in his special forces. He is no longer trying to crush you with brute force because he knows you are too strong for that. Instead, he is trying to dismantle you with deception. I am about to hand you a classified file that I call the Masquerade Protocol. This is the enemy's casting sheet. It contains the 7 specific character archetypes he deploys against every chosen one who is on the verge of a major promotion. These are not random people being difficult. These are strategic assignments designed to get you to open the door to your own destruction. If you do not recognize these faces, you will welcome them in. But if you know who they are, you can neutralize them without lifting a finger. The first form is the most common, but also the most volatile. We call this character the provoker. You know this character. This is the person who seems to have a PhD in pushing your buttons. They do not just annoy you, they trigger a visceral chemical reaction in your blood. They know exactly where your insecurities are buried, and they stomp on them with surgical precision. Listen to what they say to you. They say things like, "You are always late, aren't you?" They say, "Are you sure you are qualified for this?" They look at your dreams and they laugh, saying, "You need to be realistic. You are living in a fantasy world." Their dialogue is scripted to sound like criticism, but the subtext is actually bait. The provoker does not care about your punctuality. They do not care about your qualifications. Their only mission is to get you to step out of your spirit and into your flesh. They want you to argue. They want you to defend yourself. They want you to lower your frequency to match their chaos. We see a masterclass in handling the provoker in the life of King David. In 2 Samuel chapter 16, David is running for his life. He is at his lowest point. He has lost his throne, his son is hunting him, and he is exhausted. And suddenly, a man named Shimei comes out of nowhere and starts throwing stones at the king. Shimei is screaming curses. He is yelling, get out, you man of blood, you scoundrel." He is kicking dirt at David. He is publicly humiliating God's anointed. Now, look at the context. David is surrounded by his mighty men. He has Abishai, a warrior who could cut off Shimei's head in 1 second. Abishai actually asks for permission. He says, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over and take off his head." This is the test. The provoker is begging for a reaction. The circumstances justify a reaction. David has the power to destroy him. But David does something that stops the simulation in its tracks. He looks at his men and says, "Leave him alone. Let him curse, for the Lord has told him to." David recognized the director behind the actor. He realized that Shimei was just a prop used by God to test David's humility. David said, "Maybe the Lord will see my distress and repay me with good for the cursing I am receiving today." That is how you win against the provoker. You do not argue. You do not explain. You do not defend your reputation. You realize that their insults are just lines in a script. When they scream at you, you do not scream back. You go silent. You create a vacuum where their words fall flat. I want you to visualize the provoker in your life right now. Picture them standing in front of you, shouting their accusations. Now, in your mind, see yourself pressing a mute button on their chest. Their mouth is still moving, but no sound is coming out. You are watching a silent movie. You are not engaged. You are observing. By refusing to engage, you pass the test, and the actor is dismissed from the set. But once you defeat the provoker, the enemy changes tactics. He realizes he cannot make you angry, so he tries to make you anxious. He sends in the second form. We call this character the delayer. The delayer is the spirit of the near miss. This is the person or the system that holds your breakthrough hostage at the 99% mark. Everything looks perfect. The deal is done. The job is yours. The money is approved. And then, at the 11th hour, the delayer steps in. They say things like, "We just need to review the paperwork one more time." They say, "The person who signs the checks is out of the office until next week." They say, "We lost your application. Can you resend it?" They say, "Not right now. Soon, but not now." This attack is psychological torture. It is designed to target your trust in God's timing. The enemy knows that if he can make you wait long enough, you will start to take matters into your own hands. You will try to force the door open. You will compromise your standards just to get the result. The delayer is not just being bureaucratic. They are testing your idolatry of the outcome. Are you willing to wait for God's best, or will you settle for a counterfeit just to end the tension? How do you win against the delayer? You use the weapon of active rest. You look at the delay and you say, "If this door is stuck, it is because God is locking it for my protection, or He is preparing the room on the other side." When the delayer tells you, "You have to wait another week," you do not panic, you do not beg, you say, "That is fine. I trust the timing." Imagine you are holding a heavy key in your hand, trying to jam it into a lock that won't turn. You are sweating, you are frustrated. Now, in your mind, take your hand off the key. Step back from the door, sit down in the chair next to it, fold your hands, By taking your hand off the knob, you are signaling to heaven that you trust the director more than you need the scene to change. The moment you stop forcing, the lock will click on its own, but there is a form that hurts even more than the delay. There is a silence that cuts deeper than any curse. Once you have proven you can handle the noise of the provoker and the friction of the delayer, the enemy sends in the third form. We call this character the ghost. The ghost is the person who promised to be there for you and then vanished into thin air. This is the friend who said, "I have your back," and then stopped returning your calls when the crisis hit. This is the partner who said, "I love you," and then walked away without an explanation. This is the mentor who said, "I will help you build this," and then disappeared when the work got hard. The ghost does not attack you with words, they attack you with absence. They use the weapon of abandonment. Their dialogue is silence. You send a text, and you see the read receipt, but no reply comes. You call, and it goes to voicemail. You replay the last conversation in your head, wondering what you did wrong. You ask, "Why did they leave me? Was I too much? Was I not enough?" The enemy uses the ghost to trigger your orphan spirit. He wants you to feel rejected. He wants you to chase them. He wants you to beg for their attention. He wants you to believe that your value walked out the door with them. But here is the truth about the ghost. They did not leave because you are worthless. They left because your future is too heavy for them to carry. They were scaffolding, not the foundation. And when the building gets high enough, the scaffolding must be removed so the structure can stand on its own. How do you win against the ghost? You let them go. You do not chase. You do not demand closure. You realize that their absence is not a rejection, it is a redirection. God removed them because they were blocking the view of who He is bringing next. Visualize the person who ghosted you. See them walking away from you, down a long road. Your instinct is to run after them, to grab their arm, to ask why. But instead, I want you to visualize yourself turning around and walking the other way. As you walk away, feel the cord that connected you to them snapping. It doesn't hurt. It feels like relief. You are not losing a friend. You are losing a dead weight. You have identified the provoker, the delayer, and the ghost. These three are painful, but they are obvious. You know they are attacks because they hurt, but the enemy knows you are getting smarter. He knows you have your guard up against pain. So, for the next phase of the operation, he is not going to use pain. He is going to use pleasure. The first three forms attacked your emotions, but the next four forms are far more dangerous because they attack your ego and your greed. They do not look like enemies, they look like opportunities. And the fifth form has taken down more chosen ones than every demon in hell combined, because it offers you exactly what you think you want. The fifth form is what I call the shortcut. This is the counterfeit blessing that arrives right when you are exhausted from waiting on the real one. It looks like the job you wanted, but the spirit behind the company is dark. It looks like the partner you prayed for, but they don't share your values. It looks like the financial breakthrough, but it requires you to compromise your integrity. The shortcut is the enemy's way of saying, you don't have to wait for God, you can have it right now. It is the spirit of Ishmael. Abraham got tired of waiting for Isaac, the promised son, so he created Ishmael, the manufactured son. And that decision caused conflict that lasted for generations. The shortcut is dangerous because it targets your fatigue. It whispers, just take this. It is close enough. But close enough is a trap. If you have to force it, if you have to lower your standards to keep it, it is not the blessing, it is the bait. Then comes the sixth form, the most subtle of them all, the gaslighter. Unlike the provoker who screams, the gaslighter whispers. They do not attack your character, they attack your reality. They say things like, "Are you sure God told you that? Maybe you are just imagining things." They say, "You are being too sensitive. Nobody else feels that way." The gaslighter's mission is to disconnect you from your own intuition. They want you to doubt your own spiritual hearing. They want you to outsource your discernment to them. This was the very first tactic used in the Garden of Eden when the serpent asked, "Did God really say?" If you find yourself constantly confused after talking to someone, if you leave a conversation feeling like you are losing your mind, you are not crazy. You are under attack by a gaslighter. And finally, the seventh form, the vampire. This is the person who is addicted to your light. They are not mean, they are not angry, they are needy. They are always in a crisis. Every time you talk to them, it is an emergency. They call you at all hours, dumping their emotional trash on your doorstep, expecting you to clean it up. You feel guilty setting boundaries with the vampire because they seem so helpless. You think you are being a good Christian by helping them. But listen to me closely. They do not want your solution. They want your energy. They feed on your attention. And the moment you solve one crisis, they manufacture another one, because if they get healed, they lose access to your time. Now that you see the full cast of characters, the provoker, the delayer, the ghost, the flatterer, the shortcut, the gaslighter, and the vampire, you realize that you have been surrounded. You realize that the stage has been crowded with actors trying to pull you off your mark. So how do you fight them all? Do you argue with the gaslighter? Do you negotiate with the vampire? Do you fight the provoker? No. You do not have the energy to fight 7 different wars on 7 different fronts. You need a single move that defeats all of them at once. You need a weapon that ends the simulation instantly. I am going to give you a technique right now called the director's cut. This is not just a psychological trick. It is a spiritual stance derived from the highest levels of warfare. In a movie, who has the most power? Is it the villain? No. Is it the hero? No. It is the director. The director is the only person who can stop the action, rearrange the set, and dismiss the actors. Up until now, you have been living life as the actor, reacting to whatever lines are thrown at you. But today, you are going to sit in the director's chair. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, even if you are just listening. Visualize the situation that is draining you right now. See the actors playing their parts. See the vampire crying. See the provoker shouting. See the delayer holding the paperwork. The noise is loud. The pressure is high. Now, in your imagination, I want you to step out of your body. Step backward, away from the scene, until you are standing behind a camera. In your hand, you are holding a megaphone. The plastic feels cold and heavy in your grip. You are no longer in the scene. You are observing the scene. Take a deep breath, filling your lungs with the authority of the kingdom. And in your mind, I want you to lift that megaphone to your lips and shout one word: cut. Visualize the scene freezing. The actors stop moving, the noise stops, the chaos freezes in midair. You are no longer a victim of the script, you are the one holding the script. Now, look at those actors frozen in time. Look at that situation, and realize, I do not have to engage with this scene anymore. I do not have to say my lines. I can rewrite this. This mental shift is what the Apostle Paul was talking about in Ephesians chapter 6. We quote the armor of God all the time, but we miss the most powerful directive in verse 13. It says, "And having done all, to stand." That word stand in the Greek is histemi. It does not mean to just stand there like a statue. It is a military term that means to hold your ground. It means to establish a position that cannot be moved. It means to become like a breakwater in the ocean. The waves crash against it, the storms pound it, but the breakwater does not fight the water. It simply exists, and because it is unmovable, the water has to break around it. When you use the director's cut, you are entering the state of histemi. You are telling the enemy, "I am not going to argue with you. I am not going to explain myself to you. I am simply going to stand in my identity as a chosen one, and I am going to watch you break yourself against my peace." When you stop reacting, the enemy loses his power. The actors don't know what to do when you stop saying your lines. The vampire leaves because there is no energy to feed on. The provoker leaves because there is no reaction to provoke. The simulation collapses because you refuse to play the game. But I must issue a warning, a severe warning. Now that you have the shield of awareness, now that you have the sword of the director's cut, now that you have passed the recovery test, you are dangerous, you are powerful, you are ready for the blessing. And the enemy knows it. He knows that the simulation is ending. He knows the check is about to be signed. And when an enemy knows he has lost the war, he does not surrender gracefully. He launches a final, desperate, scorched earth campaign. In psychology, this is called an extinction burst. When you stop reinforcing a bad behavior, it doesn't just go away instantly. It spikes. It gets worse right before it stops. So, in the next few days, as you stand in your power, do not be surprised if the chaos gets louder for a moment. Do not be surprised if the ghost tries to come back with a text message at 2 a.m. Do not be surprised if the shortcut appears with a tempting offer that looks perfect. Do not be surprised if old addictions you thought you conquered suddenly flare up with intense cravings. This is not a sign that you are failing. This is a sign that the enemy is panicking. He is firing every last bullet in his chamber because he sees what is coming down the pipeline for you. He sees the size of the reward that God is carrying toward you. You have the shield. You have the sword. You have the authority. But you are not fighting just to survive. You are not fighting just to stay standing. You are fighting for what belongs to you. You are fighting to receive your wages, because for the last 3 months, while you were crying, while you were working, while you were enduring the silence, heaven was keeping a timesheet. Every tear was recorded, every attack was noted. And God is not an employer who withholds wages. Heaven is holding a massive check with your name on it. It is called back pay. And the reason the enemy is trying so hard to distract you right now is that he wants you to quit 5 minutes before the direct deposit hits your account. The enemy is attacking you right now because he is trying to get you to quit 5 minutes before the direct deposit hits. He knows something that you have forgotten. He knows the spiritual labor laws of the kingdom better than you do. He knows that in God's economy, there is no such thing as unpaid overtime. You look at the last 3 months and you see loss. You see time wasted. You see relationships broken. You see money drained. But when heaven looks at the last 3 months, it sees a timesheet. Every hour you spent crying but refusing to curse God was recorded as billable hours. Every time you were attacked by the provoker but chose to remain silent, that was recorded as double time. Every time the ghost walked away and you chose to forgive instead of chase, that was recorded as hazard pay. You are not just due for a restoration, you are due for back pay. We need to anchor this in the absolute law of Scripture so your logical mind does not reject it. You have heard Joel 2:25 quoted 1,000 times. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. But because we read it in English, we miss the legal contract hidden in the original language. The Hebrew word used for restore is shalom. And shalom does not mean to just fix what was broken. If you wreck your car and the insurance fixes it, that is repair. But shalom means to make whole, to finish, to pay back, and most importantly, to compensate. In ancient Hebrew law, if a thief was caught stealing, he didn't just have to return what he stole. He had to pay back double, sometimes fourfold, and in some cases, sevenfold. The thief, the enemy, stole your peace for 90 days. He stole your joy. He stole your clarity. Under the law of shalom, he is now required to pay you back everything he took, plus interest. God is not just going to give you back the 3 months you lost. He is going to give you an acceleration that accomplishes 3 years of work in 3 months. That is shalom. I want to tell you about a chosen one named David, not the king, but a man living right now who went through this exact same sting operation. He lost his job in the first month. His fiancée left him in the second month, and in the third month, his health crashed. He was lying in his bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, God, you have abandoned me. He was under attack by the gaslighter, telling him he was crazy. He was under attack by the delayer, with every job application vanishing into a black hole. But right at the 90-day mark, he stopped fighting. He used the director's cut. He stood in the stillness. 3 days later, he was standing in his kitchen. I want you to picture your own kitchen right now, the specific light coming through the window, and his phone buzzed. It was an email. It wasn't a job offer for the position he applied for. It was an offer for a partnership in a company he didn't even know was watching him. The salary was exactly double what he had lost. But here is the shalom. The new role required him to move to a city where, 2 weeks later, he met the woman who is now his wife. The enemy stole a job to give him a career. The enemy stole a girlfriend to give him a kingdom marriage. David thought he was losing. But the whole time, God was clearing the lot so he could build a mansion. You are standing in that same kitchen right now. The email is already sent. The transfer is already initiated. The only thing waiting is for the timeline to catch up to the truth. But I do not want you to just hope for this. I want you to look for it. I am going to give you the 3-day rule. Because you passed the test of the recovery rate and because you have armed yourself against the 7 forms, the atmosphere around you is about to shift violently. Over the next 72 hours, I want you to watch for 3 specific signals. These are the receipts that your back pay is arriving. Signal number 1 is the unprovoked favor. You will be going about your day, minding your own business, and a stranger will go out of their way to bless you. Someone will pay for your coffee. A random person will give you a compliment that speaks directly to your soul. A customer service agent will waive a fee they are not supposed to waive. When this happens, do not brush it off as luck. This is the first drops of rain before the deluge. It is God winking at you, saying, I see you. Signal number 2 is the electronic resurrection. Watch your phone. Watch your email. Something that was dead is going to suddenly come back to life. A contact you haven't heard from in 6 months will text you out of the blue. A project you thought was buried will suddenly get a green light. A payment that was stuck will suddenly clear. This is the spirit of the delayer being broken. When you see that notification pop up, I want you to whisper, Shalom. Signal number 3 is the internal silence. This is the most important one. Sometime in the next 3 days, you are going to wake up, or you are going to be driving, and you will suddenly realize that the noise is gone. The anxiety that has been humming in the background of your chest for 90 days will vanish. You will feel a peace so deep it almost feels strange. You will look at your problems and realize they do not scare you anymore. This is the sign that the simulation has officially ended. The director has packed up the set, the actors have gone home, and you are left standing in the center of the stage, holding the prize. Chosen one, visualize this clearly. Imagine you are holding a physical check in your hands. See your name printed on it. See the amount. It is more than you asked for, more than you imagined. Now, look at the signature line. It is not signed by a man. It is signed by the creator of the universe. This is not a fantasy. This is a prophetic inevitability. The files have been reviewed. The verdict is in. The test is passed. The reward is released. But there is one final step. In the legal courts of heaven, a verdict can be rendered, but it must be received. A blessing can be mailed, but it must be signed for. There are spiritual protocols that must be observed to bring what is in the cloud down into the earth. You have the knowledge, you have the mindset, but you have not yet sealed this transaction with your spirit. Everything we have talked about, the simulation, the actors, the recovery rate, the back pay, it is all sitting right in front of you like a feast on a table. But you have to sit down and eat. You have to actively claim it before the enemy tries to convince you it isn't yours. We are about to enter the most critical moment of this entire broadcast. This is not just a prayer. This is an activation ceremony. We are going to seal the cracks in your armor. We are going to bind the 7 forms so they can never touch you again. And we are going to command the release of your shalom. Mothers are ready. Fathers are ready. The angels are standing at attention. The question is, are you? If you are lying down, sit up. If you are distracted, focus. If you are doubting, stop. We are about to cross the finish line. Do not let the enemy distract you in this final minute. The portal is open. The pen is in your hand. It is time to sign for your destiny. This is not a prayer request. This is a coronation. Wherever you are right now, whether you are driving, sitting in a room, or lying in the dark, I want you to shift your internal posture. Do not move your physical body, but I want you to visualize your spirit standing up inside of you. Visualize your inner man or inner woman rising to full height, shoulders back, eyes fixed on the unseen realm. You are no longer the victim of the simulation. You are standing as the graduate of the operation. We are going to access the courts of heaven right now to seal this verdict. We are going to take the pen of authority and sign the release papers for your destiny. There is no turning back after this moment. In the mighty, matchless, and authoritative name of the living God, the creator of the simulation and the author of your soul, I declare that the atmosphere around you is shifting right now. I command the chaos of the last 90 days to bow its knee to the order of the kingdom. I declare that the portal of confusion is closed and the portal of revelation is wide open. Father, I bring this chosen one before you. You know the file. You know the tears they have cried in secret. You know the nights they laid awake wondering if they had missed their calling. You know the sting of the betrayal, the burn of the anger, and the crushing weight of the silence. I acknowledge every second of their pain. I acknowledge that the test was hard. I acknowledge that the fire was hot. But Lord, I also acknowledge that they are still here. They did not quit. They did not curse you and die. They kept breathing. And because they are still standing, I present them to you now as qualified to receive the upgrade. I seal the revelation of the recovery rate upon their spirit. I declare that the spirit of perfectionism is broken off of their mind forever. They will no longer be tormented by the guilt of their reactions. I decree that their righteousness is not defined by how they fall, but by the supernatural power with which they rise. I anoint their spiritual legs with the oil of resilience. From this day forward, when they are hit, they will bounce back with double the force. I declare that their recovery time is shortened from months to minutes. Now, I turn to the enemies that have been deployed against them. I take the authority given to us to trample on serpents and scorpions, and I address the 7 forms of disguise directly. To the spirit of the provoker, I command you to cease and desist. You will no longer find a landing strip in their emotions. I seal the ears of this chosen one against your insults. When you scream, they will hear only silence. I declare that their identity is immune to your criticism. To the spirit of the delayer, I break your hold on their timeline. I declare that the season of waiting is over. I command the doors you have jammed shut to burst open. I command the paperwork you have hidden to be found. I command the approvals you have blocked to be released. I declare speed over this life. Acceleration is their portion. To the spirit of the ghost, I sever the soul ties of rejection. I declare that this chosen one is whole without the people who left. I fill the empty space in their heart with the liquid love of the Father. I declare that the people who walked out were removing themselves to make room for kingdom connections. To the flatterer, the shortcut, and the gaslighter, I expose you by the light of truth. I sharpen the discernment of this chosen one. They will smell the fake blessing from a mile away. They will reject the counterfeit. They will trust their own intuition. To the spirit of the vampire, I cut the cord of draining. I declare that this chosen one is a fountain of life, not a dumping ground for other people's garbage. I give them the holy boldness to set boundaries without guilt. I seal the weapon of the director's cut in their right hand. I declare that from this moment on, they have the authority to stop the scene. They are not the actor. They are the co-creator. When they speak peace, the storm must listen. When they command stillness, the waves must obey. And now, I pivot to the reward. I stand on the law of Shalom. I decree and declare that the books of remembrance are open. I command the north, the south, the east, and the west to give up what they have stolen from this chosen one. I speak to the finances. I command the back pay to be released. I command the hidden checks, the forgotten accounts, and the unexpected favor to manifest within the next 72 hours. I declare an electronic resurrection over their devices. Good news is coming through the airwaves. I speak to the relationships. I call forth the destiny helpers, the kingdom spouses, and the covenant partners who are carrying the same frequency. I declare that the season of loneliness is replaced by a season of power partnerships. I speak to the mind. I command the noise to stop. I release the peace that surpasses all understanding. I declare that the heavy fog of the last 3 months is lifting, and the sun of clarity is breaking through. Chosen one, hear the word of the Lord. You have passed. The test is graded. The lesson is learned. The simulation is deactivated. You are now stepping into the reality of the promise. I ask you now, in the presence of the cloud of witnesses, are you ready to receive this? Are you ready to walk in this new level of authority? Are you ready to leave the victim mentality behind and rule as a king and priest? If your answer is yes, I want you to shout yes in your spirit right now. Let that yes ring out like a bell in the spirit realm. Heaven has heard your yes. The contract is signed. The seal is set. You are commissioned. Go forth and take back everything the enemy thought he could keep. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You are the victor, not the victim. I release you from the wilderness. I release you from the waiting room. I release you into your destiny. It is done. It is sealed. It is yours. Shalom.